Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I had a mystical vision where one of the saints of the Tijani path showed me 3 doors. The door of knowledge or scholarship, the door of the Gnostic or meditation, and the door of devotion or worship. So again, the door of the scholar, the door of meditation, and the door of the devoted or the worshipper. So there are probably more doors than this, but if we focus on these 3 doors, you see, I think we misunderstand what is tariqah. I really think that we misunderstand what is tariqah, or a Sufi order, or a Sufi path. I really think we misunderstand what is tariqah. Now myself, I'm not a native Arabic speaker. I don't speak Arabic. I've taken a little bit of, few hours at university courses. I know how to read a little bit slowly, and I know how to write some simple things, and I understand a couple of words and some sentences, but I don't speak Arabic. But one thing I noticed and learned when I was trying to study a little bit of Arabic is that we who don't speak Arabic, we tend to dogmatize the words and make them a little bit more than what they are, and kind of dramatize the words a little bit. So when we hear tariq, we're like, when we hear alim or something like this, we become afraid because it's not a natural language, or it's not a native language to us. But tariqah just means path. So when you say tariqah Qadriya, it just means you're following the way of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. That's it. It means you believe that, okay, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani was this great person, a very holy person, a saint. He reached Allah. I want to do what he did. I want to follow him. That is tariqah Qadriya. That's what it means. Tariqah Naqshbandiya means you follow Shah Naqshband. He's your guide, your leader on that path, and you want to follow his way, his method. This is it. Tariqah Tijaniya means you're following the way of Sayyidina Ahmed Tijani radiallahu anhu. This is what it means. People make it much more than what it is, and many people on many Tijani forums who talk about love for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu and talk about Tijani so much, they have never read one statement by Sayyidina Ahmed Tijani. They don't know one teaching of Sayyidina Ahmed Tijani. So how can you say you are Tariqah Tijani if you don't even know what the master taught? The man that you claim to follow to God. So you see, we don't understand these things. And that's why we create also sometimes misunderstanding and these kinds of things. So tariqah, for example, muridiyah, it means kind of you're following the way of setting tuba. This is what it means. So then you understand, if you understand this, you understand that everyone has a tariqah. Every human being. Donald Trump has his tariqah. Is it the right tariqah or the wrong tariqah? That's something else. The true tariqah takes you to the truth, or al-haq. So a true tariqah should take you to Allah, isn't it? Because Allah al-haq, Allah is the truth. So if you, I wouldn't say that Donald Trump's path or tariqah is going to take you to Allah. It's going to take you to lies and a lot of materialism, because that's his life. Disbelief, life, materialism. But it's a tariqah. So everyone has a tariqah. Remember this. Everyone has a tariqah. So when you are following, who can it be? Okay, Tijani, tariqah Tijani, then you are walking through his way, isn't it? And when it comes to the spiritual path, unfortunately, we have this kind of situation. I'm just going to explain it, and then I'm going to explain why I go through it. Is that there are many sheikhs from all different tariqah that compete for followers. So they try to do everything. And that's why the real tariqah gets blurred very much and people get confused. For example, they want to be the most knowledgeable, they want to be devotional, they want to be meditative, because they think that if they do that, then they are going to get more and more followers. So there's this element of nafs in it. But the damage of this is that the murids, or the followers, can get very confused as to what is the tariqah. I'll give an example. We don't have to mention any names, but there is a famous sheikh who half of his talk is in English, half of his other talk is in Arabic, quoting Quran, quoting Hadith, very great scholar of Quran and Hadith. And when I watch him, I sit and think to myself, oh, mashallah, is my brother, is he a sheikh or is he a scholar? Because he talks like a scholar, but he's titled a sheikh, so to speak. Then the title, that's another discussion. But you see, and that can make people think that a particular tariqah is about ilm or scholarship, that you have to be quoting Quran and quoting Hadith and all of these things. But in reality, that tariqah might be based on meditation. So it's very important to understand these, meditation, the path of meditation, the path of devotion, the path of scholarship. Because, for example, the Baifal is very devotional. So the devotional path is very much about love, it's about worship, hard work, a lot of chanting. A parallel from Hinduism would be, Ramakrishna. Krishna Hare, Rama Hare Rama. That is a very devotional path. I think they call it bhakti or something like this in Hindu traditions. Now, if you mix something devotional with something very meditative, for example, Zen Buddhism. Zen, which comes from Chen, which comes from Dhyana, which means meditation in Sanskrit. Meditational Buddhism is very much about, mindfulness, being in the moment. Zen, a path like Zen, requires silence, and it requires concentration, and it requires meditation. Devotion can disturb a meditational path, just as a meditational one can, to a certain degree, disturb a devotional path. And a knowledge path will disturb a meditational path, because meditation is not about reading high quantities of book knowledge. It's about getting a little bit of knowledge and meditating on that and getting the inner knowledge. So mixing these paths can make people very, very confused, because in Islam most people are following a knowledge path, because the famous teachers of you can say Salafi type of Islam is very knowledgeable. It's about being a scholar, educated in Mecca, and quoting Quran and Hadith perfectly. So it's very much mind, rationality, mind, knowledge. That's that path. Now that collides with, for example, content on this channel, which is more meditational. Because this is a meditational path, is not a scholarly one. It's about knowing yourself and getting the wisdom from within. So it's important to understand these three different doors. There are more doors, but these three can help us to understand that. So okay, that person is trying to reach some sort of enlightenment through knowledge. That person is trying to reach his through meditation. That person through chanting and love and so on. And these three, if mixing them, can create a lot of confusion, because, for example, meditation and devotion, they can disturb each other. Hopefully this video is helpful. Assalamu alaikum.